An equation means the left-hand side must equal the right-hand side of the equal sign. Here are 4 examples. Notice that in each of these examples, there is a letter, X or Y. In the first example, the X is on the left side. The second example, the Y is on the left side. The third example, X is on the right side. And the fourth example, Y is on the right side. Your job is to get those letters all by themselves on one side of the equation, and it doesn't matter which one. Let's start with this one. If you think about getting X all by itself, one strategy would be to make this 5 turn into a 0. And if you apply your integer operations and do the inverse operation of add, which is subtract, you will get that 0 pair. But what you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. So you're going to subtract 5. That one becomes a 0 pair, and you're left with X all by itself. 15 subtract 5 is 10. The solution to this equation is X equals 10. Second one. The goal is to get Y by itself, so create a 0 pair by adding 4 to both sides of the equation. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. You make a 0 pair here, and then Y is by itself. -7 plus 4 makes a -3. Third one. X is on the right-hand side of the equation, and that's okay. All you're going to do is try to get a 0 pair on the right. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. X is on the right side. Here's a 0 pair, and 9 subtract 3 is 6. Therefore, X is equal to 6. And the last one, get Y by itself by adding 1 both sides of the equation. Therefore, Y is equal to 9, or written this way is correct. Good job. Did you notice I changed 2 of the examples just slightly? Now, how would we solve these? First of all, remember what we did with this one. We circled the X, subtract 5 both sides. What we do to one side, we do to the other. Therefore, X is equal to 10. Now, we still want X by itself, but there's a multiply in between here. The inverse operation of multiply is divide. If we divide the left side by 5, we'll get a 1x, and that's what we want. But what we do to one side, we must do to the other. Therefore, x is equal to 3. Remember, in order to get this x by itself, we subtract 3 both sides. 9 minus 3 is 6 equals x. X was equal to 6. But now we have a multiply in between. In order to get x by itself, we need to divide. Because if we divide by -3, -3 divided by -3 makes a 1. We're left with x on the right side. But what we do to one side, we must do to the other. 9 divided by -3 is a -3. Therefore, x is equal to -3. Now pause the video and you give these a try. We need 2 steps to solve for the variable in these 4. What you can do is follow the same procedure. Circle that x, even though it's with a coefficient of 6, and perform the 0 pair strategy first. So 12 minus 12 will give that 0 pair. What you do to one side, you do to the other. We have 6x equals 12. And now, because we have multiply, the opposite of multiply is divide, What we do to one side, we do to the other. X is equal to 2. Next one. Circle the 3y and go for the 0 pair. Subtract 16, 3y on the right side, and negative 12 on the left. Divide by 3, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. Y is equal to negative 4, or written as y is equal to negative 4. We have a variable on either side of the equation, and that's okay. It just means we have 2 ways to solve this question. The first way is to look at this x and subtract x, both sides of the equation. Because when we do that, this gives us a 0 pair. We're left with 9 is equal to 1 plus 2x. Circle that x now that has a coefficient of 2 and go for the 0 pair. Subtract 1 both sides. That one gives us a 0. We have 2x equals 8. Now we can divide by 2, both sides, and x is equal to 4, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. Or we can write it as x equals 4, either way. Now rather than subtract x both sides, we could have subtracted 3x both sides. When we do, we get a 0 pair on the right and a 9 minus 2x on the left. Circle that x and subtract 9 both sides. We have a negative 8 on the right side and a negative 2x on the left. What we do to one side, we do to the other. Now x is going to be negative divided by negative makes a positive 4. We got the same answer. And the last one, let's decide to add 3y both sides. We have 8, 0 pair, equals negative 8y plus 3y is negative 5y plus 23. Now we want negative 5y by itself. Subtract 23. 8 subtract 23 equals negative 15. Equals negative 5y, and divide by negative 5. 3 equals y, or y is equal to 3. Now what would happen if we ended up adding 8y? Remember our answer was 3. Let's add 8y, both sides. Now we have 23 on the right, 5y, and an 8. Get the 5y by itself by subtracting 8 both sides. 15 on the right, 5y on the left, divide by 5, and we got the same answer. Good job.